Welcome to the Real Estate Syndication Show. Whether you are a seasoned investor or building a new real estate business, this is the show for you. Whitney Sewell talks to top experts in the business. Our goal is to help you master real estate syndication. And now your host, Whitney Sewell.
This is your daily real estate syndication show. I'm your host, Whitney Sewell. Today, our guest is Alina Trigub. Thanks for being on the show again, Alina.
Whitney, I cannot tell you how excited I am to be back on your show. I mean, it's been so long and, we have so many great memories together, but I'm really excited and grateful for the invitation to be back again.
Yeah, Alina and I were just discussing, she was, her first time she was on the show was show 63. It seems like forever ago. It's almost 2 years, over 2 years by the time this comes out. But I would encourage you to go back and listen to some previous episodes with Alina. She's provided tons of information and just from her skill set, her ability in her business that we've all learned from. But a little about her. She's a founder and managing partner of SA. Do you pronounce it SAMO or do you say
Samo.
it, Alina? Samo. I wanted to make sure I was saying it correctly. Samo Financial, a boutique private equity firm specializing in helping busy business owners and IT professionals to passively invest in commercial real estate. For over 7 years, Alina has been investing in real estate in various capacities. Her business motto has been articulated well by Warren Buffett's quote, "Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago." Alina, welcome back to the show. I know you and I were talking a little bit about your unique story and background and some things there where that can help the listener, I think. And then I want to dive into just some of your unique ability or unique skills that you have too that have helped you to develop the relationships and develop the business that you have now. But let's get started with some of your story, just that can help the listener potentially that will relate to that story.
Yeah, thank you, Whitney. Absolutely. So when I typically get on a podcast interview, and you'll hear it a lot, I always start out, I got my degree in accounting and off we went to a successful corporate career. What I haven't shared before with others is before I got the degree in accounting, I was an immigrant who came to this country with my mom, my aunt, and my cousin. It was literally 4 women. The only man that we had in our family at the time was the cat that my cousin had at the time. So it was challenging times, without a man, without anything, coming to the country and deciding what to do, how to do it, and finding ways to support ourselves. So for me, it was obvious that I had to go back to school. I started my undergraduate journey back in Soviet Union, where I came, but I never finished my degree, and it was in environmental protection study, which I didn't want to pursue again here. So I chose accounting, as mentioned before. And while it was a challenging career and while pursuing it, I still needed to find a way to support my mom and myself. And my mom, while having 2 degrees from former Soviet Union, decided that she needed to have a degree here. So she also went back to school. So both of us were going for our undergraduate degrees with barely any language. And needed to find ways to support. So we both worked odd jobs from babysitting to house sitting to cleaning to whatever women with very little language abilities could find. And the reason I'm sharing this is so that others can relate to the fact that no matter where you start, no matter what you do, you find ways to support yourselves and you find ways to move forward and to get to your goals and get to your dream destinations. And obviously, as someone who is coming from nowhere and having nothing in my life, the goal was to find a job that will pay to support myself and my family. This is the mentality of a typical immigrant. And while it makes a lot of sense at that time, we are now living in a different times where the economy is changing, and a lot of people are forced to become entrepreneurs. And there's nothing wrong to be an entrepreneur, but while you're going through this journey, just like going through a journey of becoming a W-2 employee, you need to set your goals straight, and you need to decide for yourself, why are you setting these goals, why you want to achieve what you want to achieve. And when you know what is it that you want to achieve and why you want to achieve it, you will be able to succeed. In other words, having tenacity and having a clear why identified for yourself, whether you're doing it to benefit your family, whether you're doing it because you want to build a school in your former homeland, or whether it's another charity or something else that you want to achieve in your life. Decide and have that clear vision of where you're heading and why you're heading there. And if you're having a hard time deciding on what your why is, I highly, highly recommend reading Simon Sinek book, Start With Your Why. I think that's the title of it. That helps you identify why you're doing what you're doing, and setting up clear goals as to where you're heading. It will help you tremendously.
Appreciate you sharing that, Alina, and I just think it's often those hard times, especially in younger years, shape you so much moving forward, right? It can be good or bad, but thankfully for you, it was that it gave you. Sounds like your mom had that in her as well, just that drive, and to go to school again, and the way you all had to work to make it happen and to support yourselves. I'm sure has just shaped you so much moving forward, and now to be an entrepreneur and to push through those things, having your why and being able to just keep driving forward, no matter what. I talk a lot about just like military boot camp or police academy and spending a year overseas, all those things in younger years that really, I think, shaped me and helped my just mindset and, helped me to think differently about, decisions that are made, or, things that are helping you to get back up when you get knocked down, type of mentality. And so it sounds like that's kind of what happened to you. So thanks again for sharing that. I hope the listeners can relate to that, and just whatever situation they're in, come on, pick yourself up. You have to keep going, right? And you can do it. Well, you've learned a lot, since then, and just your businesses and different careers. And, and one thing you mentioned, in some of the information you've given us is just like the value of building long lasting relationships, and things you've learned. I thought we could talk about that, because this is such a relationship business, but I'd love to dive in there a little bit and what you've learned and how that's helped you to get to where you're at now, because this is such a relationship business. And most businesses are, but especially this one. And so let's jump into that.
Sure, Whitney. It's a great topic, and my journey of learning how to build relationship and what's it about started by reading Dale Carnegie book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I actually read it for the first time back in Soviet Union in Russian, and I made a mental note for myself when I knew that we were immigrating, that I need to find this book in English and read it in English. And I since have reread it multiple times, and it helped me in building relationship tremendously. And what I realized over time, that while Dale is talking about rudimentary principles and basic things in this book, but he was able to compile them all together and present it in a way that's easy to understand, easy to digest, and very easy to follow. You just need to remember it. And such simple things as, for instance, when you're having a conversation with someone, especially for the first time, make it about that person. Let the person talk about them. Let them share their story. And to really show that you're interested in that, make it into a conversation. So as they're sharing their story, start asking questions, especially if it's the topic that you potentially are passionate about. Let's say that this is someone who is interested in a game of tennis, and you happen to see the last games, and maybe you've seen Serena Williams play, or maybe someone else. Start asking questions about their game, about their experience, about their daily routine and stuff. Start showing interest, and really show that you're truly, truly interested in the person, in their experience, and how they were able to achieve what they've achieved and what they're doing to overcome their obstacles. Don't jump into talking business from the very first time, because you know what, when you start jumping into the business, it's going to sound like a sales pitch, and that's the last thing that you want to happen. You want to make sure that the person you're talking to sees you as a human being who is truly interested in their experiences. And while talking to them, it's always crucial to keep an eye contact, because what I notice some people are doing, and Dale Carnegie actually talks about it in his book, keep an eye contact. Don't start browsing the room if you're at a party or at a place where there are many other people, whether it's a networking event or a party. Look the other person in the eye, show your true interest. That will also help exponentially to that person to understand that you're really interested in them. And while I understand that, especially if it's a networking event, that you want to get going, you want to talk to other people, maybe set a timer for yourself. Maybe talk to this person anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes. And after that, you can say something to the extent, excuse me, this is a networking event. We both want to make sure that we meet other people. Great meeting you. Let's continue our conversation. Can I have your business card? And move on to the next person. But within those 15, 20 minutes, focus your attention on the person. Give them your best to make sure that at the end of the conversation, they will say, what a great conversation we had, even though it was all about them, even though it was totally their stage, even though they spent the most time talking and you just kept listening and asking brief questions here and there.
Such good content right there. I mean, just in a few minutes, Alina, if we could just do those things, wow, how far we would go in our relationships and business. But I can remember, I just think this is a learned skill. Like, you read this book and you had to start applying these things. And personally, I had to do the same thing. I'm not taught these things in school, keep eye contact and really focus on that individual and try not to be just self-serving. Right. But I can remember my mentor, us talking about some of these things. And then at a large conference, when I first started traveling, going to conferences, and we were in a large room. I were at a bigger pockets meeting. I remember this really well. And I was watching him. Right. And of course, everybody wants to talk to him. Right. Everybody in the room knew who he was and wanted to talk to him. And he could talk to anybody in there he wanted to. But I would watch him, and he is just like laser focused on that individual in front of him. And for as long as that person wants to talk, and just asking them questions. And so I just learned a lot by observing him. And then, also by reading this book that you're talking about, but then trying to start applying those things, like really trying to work on those skills. What did you find? Any difficulties there that you had, Alina, as far as when you started trying to apply these things? I know a lot of people are nervous about just going up and approaching someone, and having that conversation, because I do believe it's a learned skill and you got to practice. But how did you do that?
Yeah, no, Whitney, I completely agree with you. I think it is a learned skill. It was very challenging for me at the very beginning, because I personally, just like every human being, I'm used to looking at the room, looking who else is in the room, and it's natural. So staying laser focused on that person is very, very challenging and difficult. So what I decided to do is pick a spot on that person's face and just try to concentrate on that one spot for a couple of minutes, and then shift to another spot. And that helped me with the concentration. When I knew that I'm looking at a particular spot, and that I kept my focus on that person, and that helped me stay engaged. And it also helped me to determine what kind of questions to ask, especially with the topic that I was interested in. For instance, I like to travel. When people start talking about various destinations where I haven't been, and believe me, there are plenty of those destinations, I really do pay a lot of attention. Hawaii, Costa Rica, Machu Picchu, and so forth. I love hearing people's stories, whether it's experience that I would want to do or I would not want to do, but still I want to hear how people were able to get there, or what they've seen, and various experiences, whether it's seeing some wild animals or whether it's seeing the country or seeing the big cities. It always fascinates me how each and every country and each and every culture is so different. And to be there as a tourist and experience it is, to me, it's a fascinating experience. So when someone starts talking about their travel, business, leisure, whatever it is, but just experience, even traveling through the airport, being on an airplane surrounded by people potentially from that culture, sometimes is a very interesting and unique experience, because you never know who's going to sit next to you. It could be someone from that culture who just immigrated to US and now visiting back their country. So it's a fascinating experience. And places like airplane and airport is another place where you can practice this thing of building relationship with people, because it all comes down to starting that conversation when, for instance, someone may be looking at their phone and iPad and watching some sort of video, or looking at the pictures that you see as interesting and fascinating. Start that conversation, ask a question, and you never know where it may lead. It may lead for this person to be either a potential partner, potential investor, or maybe someone who would be your go-to guide for the specific country if you want to go back to this country. So it's always helpful to practice what you learn, whether it's Dale Carnegie book or someone else's book, but without practicing all those principles that are helpful in building and establishing and building relationship, you're never going to be able to put it into real life. So always try to practice anywhere and everywhere you go.
I like that. Just thinking about it, anywhere and everywhere. Like, are you prepared? Are you looking for that person that you can show interest in? Because I had to gain that skill and not just, be on my phone, have my head down, looking at my phone. Like, you're sitting there on the plane next to someone, that you can strike a conversation up with. And I've started doing that more and more over the last couple of years. And it's so interesting, the people you meet that you end up sitting next to, and some have become potential investors. I don't know how many I've actually invested, that I've met on airplanes. However, they're very intrigued once they start asking about what I do. And then you just let them ask questions, and it's very neat to learn about them, where they're from, and then their desire to potentially invest and grow their business, right? And how you can maybe help. But putting the device down, putting your phone down, showing that you're open for a conversation, right? Making that eye contact. Any other tips recently that you could provide, Alina, that now that we can't go to those conferences as much now, or they're not in person. Any other ways that you found recently to build relationships that have helped you, since we're having to do most of this virtually?
Yeah, no, great topic, Whitney. You mentioned putting the phone down. I recently made quite a few posts about putting the phone down and putting your technical devices down, for that simple reason: to decompress, relax, and just enjoy the world around us. Because what I noticed, and even in my today's post on LinkedIn, what I noticed is that since we moved to this virtual world, we, including myself, my husband, friends and family and colleagues I know, and investors, started working more and more. We put a lot more hours. So it's absolutely critical to take the time to decompress, to relax, because you know what? You're going to burn down yourself a lot sooner than you think if you don't take breaks here and there, if you don't relax, and if you just don't enjoy the family. And now, we're in December. This is a holiday season. And by the way, that's why we're in red. Happy holidays, everyone, whatever you celebrate. I think it's absolutely important to either send a card to someone or just pick up the phone and do it the old-fashioned way. Call your friends, call your investors, call your family, and just ask how they're doing. What are they up to? Maybe they're struggling, or maybe they're doing really well. Whatever it is, celebrate it with them, or help them with whatever struggle they have. Help them in any way you can, and you'll be surprised. People will be pleasantly surprised to hear your voice, to see that you care about them. Whatever little step you can take in that direction by showing that you care, it will do wonders.
Alina, do you have a couple of daily habits that you are disciplined about that have helped you achieve success?
Absolutely, Whitney. I have my own variation of Miracle Morning Routine, or as it's also called, Savers. And I actually was privileged. I was invited to watch Miracle Morning premiere last weekend, which was absolutely phenomenal. So whenever it goes public to everyone, I highly, highly recommend watching the movie. It was very surprising to me to see that while the book was excellent, the movie was absolutely amazing as well. And Hal was able to incorporate some other things into the movie that were not captured in the book just because it was produced later. I'm not going to give up the secret. But in my case, yes, I have my own variation of Miracle Morning Routine. It includes exercising, shower, meditation, gratitude, and so forth. But I think it's absolutely important, no matter what time you get up, whether it's 5 a.m. or 7 or 10, you need to have your own morning routine to start your day right and to be able to be efficient and effective with your day, and to set up your small goals, small steps for the day, and to know what are you looking to achieve today.
What's your best source for meeting new investors right now?
Right now, it's repeat customers, referrals, and social media. I found that going on social media and find the medium where like-minded investors are present and engaged is the best way. I use LinkedIn a lot lately, and I'm extremely happy with the results. I like the platform as a whole in general. As a former IT professional, user experience is extremely important to me. So the quality of the platform and the quality of people that are engaged on this platform is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm really happy with the results, and I'm really happy with people I'm meeting there, not just investors, but other entrepreneurs, other potential business partners. And having those amazing conversations is just incredible.
What's the number one thing that's contributed to your success?
Grit and determination. Staying determined in whatever I do, no matter what obstacles are on the way. Someone else may call it tenacity, whatever you call it, but staying true and focused on the end result has been huge in my case.
How do you like to give back?
We give back by helping various charities. My main focus has always been kids primarily, but I also work with charities that help the hungry folks. We've sent some food donations to the local food pantries. My kids write greeting cards, and because we teach them Russian as this is a common speaking language in our household, they've been able to write greeting cards in Russian for the elderly that are homebound, that don't have any families, and we were able to bring those cards to those folks and make their days brighter.
Nice. Well, Alina, I'm grateful for your time, just how you've given back to us today. The relationship component is so important in any business, but especially in ours. And we just cannot stress that enough. That if you haven't read that book, I'm not sure what you've been doing. So, I mean, it's such a popular book, and it's such good. They seem basic, right? But however, many of us never implement those things. And so get out there and practice these things and hone that skill of really caring about others more than yourself, right? And really focusing on them. I just appreciate you elaborating on that and the importance of it today, Alina, and how that's helped you grow your business. How can people get in touch with you and learn more about you?
Whitney, they can of course find me on LinkedIn, as I already mentioned, but they can also find me through my own website, Samo Financial, or through Facebook or Instagram. And I'm always interested in speaking with new people, again, regardless where the conversation ends. Happy to help anyone and everyone. And happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Syndication Show, brought to you by LifeBridge Capital. LifeBridge Capital works with investors nationwide to invest in real estate, while also donating 50% of its profits to assist parents who are committing to adoption. LifeBridge Capital, making a difference, one investor and one child at a time. Connect online at www.lifebridgecapital.com for free material and videos to further your success.